You're not going to believe what we're going to do now, folks. This is called shaving foam marbling. Choose your favourite brand of shaving foam from the supermarket and, oops, shake it, baby. Give it a good old shake. Get it nice and frothy. Off comes the lid. And onto some sort of a plastic tray we're going to make a bed of foam. Probably a couple of centimetres thick, depending on what you're going to do. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of applying the colour to create our patterns. For our first one, let's go for a formal pattern where I smooth out the foam using a spatula of some description. I'm actually using tiling tools from a hardware shop, but you can make your own tools simply by cutting the side out of an ice cream container, or use a plastic ruler or something like that. To our pad of foam, we're going to apply colour. I'm doing it very randomly here, this is quick and easy. You might want to be a little bit more precise. A bit of purple, with my favourite new cyan. You can put on as many colours as you want, or as few, depending on what you're creating. But be careful that you don't turn them onto plasticine grey, into mud on your first application. So I'm using 3 colours that go together well. And once I've got the colours in place, I'll use something to comb those colours around. I've just chosen a satay stick because it gives me a nice fine pattern, but it could be a brush handle, an afro comb, a finger. See what you can find to draw your pattern. I'll go around again, just break up those blobby bits a little bit more. And you'll see those colours are all just sort of coming together nicely. And then I better stop before I mess it up too much. We then decide what we're going to print that onto. What you see on the surface can be printed onto anything that's slightly porous. I'm going to go paper for starters. I'm simply pressing that paper on there, but I could be using fabric. Pressing it on firmly so that that pattern is transferring onto my paper. Lift it off. Put it down onto another flat surface, scrape it off, and what appeared on your tray is now on your surface. A wipe off with an old hand towel. And that's done. Put it aside to dry. One of the interesting features about liquid radiance is that it is acid-free, pH neutral in its formulation. So if you're into scrapbooking and paper crafts, it's a wonderful way to get colours into your papers. What I must tell you though is that although the liquid radiance is pH neutral and that the paper that I'm using, which is just a reflex, a good quality copy paper, is pH neutral, shaving foam isn't. So you may need to use something like an archival spray if acid-free is part of what you do. Okay, you've seen there I've combed up another pattern onto my tray, and I can pick that up too. And I can keep on going while there's still colour on my foam block. And there we've got a different pattern again. I'm just going to start messing up my block now and showing you some different things to do. Wipe it off. That one's done. After a while, you will find that your colours get quite blended up in your heap of foam, and it's then that you can either flatten it out and use that as a background colour for adding more colours and then forming your informal patterns, or you can just continue to heap it up, add more colour and streak the foam back through it. It's amazing how long you can keep working with this pad of foam, printing what's there. This is quite exciting because the streaks of white will then start coming back along with the colours that you put in. Don't be tempted to lick your fingers. Let's break that white out a bit more and see what we've got. I've got things happening like that one in front of me. Maybe I should give you a warning at this stage, folks. This technique is highly addictive. The good bit is it's totally safe. And there we have another piece of paper or fabric, depending on where you want to print it. How much fun can we really have with a can of shaving foam? Collect your bits and pieces, a heap of fabrics or papers to work on, your Liquid Radiance colours of course, and you're ready to go. If you want a formal pattern, make a flat tray of foam onto which you can put the colours, or if you want an informal pattern, heap the foam up and then apply the colours into that. We're simply then going to apply the colours into whichever surface, comb it or stir it around to form the patterns. We're going to lay the fabric or paper on top, and that will pick up the colour as you move it across or into the foam. We'll then flip it over and lay it on a board or a towel to scrape off the excess foam. Use an old towel to wipe off the last of the foam residue and then put it aside to dry, and it's done. You can work on all sorts of objects. Here the little bears have been coloured as ready-made bears. You see my little fella sitting in his tray of foam to pick up the colour. You can use your papers and fabrics in cards, combining them with your favourite photos. You can work onto toweling, you can work onto hats, you can work onto whatever is fabric or paper. It is just so much fun.